Let me know when you're ready to start. Okay, great. Good morning. I assume that, Chuck, you've seen my press release of yesterday. I decided not to file Form CC-12. Today is the day I'm going to file my certificate of nomination, which will make me an official candidate on the November ballot for the office of governor. Form CC-12 is significant because if I sign it, it would commit me to limiting my campaign expenditures to under $1 million. My campaign is highly unlikely to make $1 million, but the reason why I'm not agreeing to abide by the spending limit is because of the conditions that are attached to it. Normally, voters can take advantage of a tax credit when they contribute to a campaign like mine. And it used to be that those tax credits were available without conditions. But after 1994, candidates had to agree to sign the Statement of Voluntary Campaign Limitations before they were able to offer their contributors tax credits. I see this as an end run around the First Amendment because it effectively extorts candidates to sign this pledge before they're able to offer these tax credits. Just as only Nixon could go to China, I think only a candidate unlikely to spend $1 million can effectively protest this particular law in this way, and so I'm not going to sign the form. This will have the effect, essentially, of rendering the campaign limitation truly voluntary for the other candidates in this race. Bill Sizemore and John Kitzhaber were debating whether or not to file this paper. Now there is no legal or financial reason to. If they file the paper now, they're essentially making a covenant between themselves and Oregon voters. And for that reason, I think it's perfectly acceptable to hold them responsible for that. Now, one other thing about this law, and another reason why I refuse to sign Form CC-12, is that it does not treat all political parties equally. Major political parties have primary elections and then general elections. They're given, in effect, two opportunities to take advantage of the tax credit. A candidate in the Republican or Democratic Party could agree to sign Form CC-12 in the primary and get tax and offer tax credits to their contributors during the primary election, and then not agree to sign it in the fall. Minor party candidates only get one chance, and that is why I think there may be a legal flaw in the law, which, if properly challenged, could render it moot. Anyway, I think that this is a blow for the First Amendment, and I think we should all watch very carefully what Mr. Sizemore and Mr. Kitzhaber do. The second item I want to talk about today is an initiative I'd like to bring out to the campaign, and that is the idea of opting out of Social Security. In 1935, the Social Security retirement system was established with the best of intentions to ensure a secure retirement for all working Americans. Almost immediately, lawmakers began to raid the Social Security Trust Fund, pass unfunded benefit increases, and offer benefits to non-contributors. The result is a financially unstable retirement system that offers poor benefits. America's slowing population growth accelerates Social Security's decay since it shrinks the ratio of contributors to recipients. In essence, the Social Security system is an elaborate pyramid scheme which must ultimately collapse. Taxes have been raised and retirement ages increased to stave off this crash. Another round of similar fixes have been proposed. Even these measures cannot save the Social Security Trust Fund. Specific dates fluctuate with the economy, but the trust fund will have a negative cash flow within 15 years. Within 35 years, it will be completely bankrupt. Even if the trust fund were to be stabilized today, workers in their late 30s would need to live over 68 years beyond their retirement to recoup taxes they paid, plus market interest. We clearly need a way out of this trap, and we need to pursue it while doing so is mathematically feasible. Such solutions will be found at the state, not federal level. The libertarian-minded but nonpartisan Cascade Policy Institute proposed an opt-out plan in 1996. In their plan, states would seek federal waivers permitting them to opt out of the Social Security retirement system and implement their own retirement plans. Such waivers have been sought and received in Oregon to implement the successful Jobs Plus Welfare to Work program. In 1997, the Oregon legislature passed a non-binding resolution asking Congress to allow states to opt out of Social Security. Such states would implement their own retirement plans, typically private investment programs featuring personal retirement accounts. Money for PRAs would come from dollars currently sent into the Social Security Trust Fund. Such programs offer low risk, low oversight costs, and attractive benefits while stimulating the economy. The South American nation of Chile has already implemented a similar plan, and a number of local and municipal governments in the United States have also offered this to their employees before they were made illegal in 1993 by the federal government. Prior to 1983, public employees in Texas participating in their opt-out program enjoyed a 6.5% return on their investments, rather than the 2.2% they would have earned with Social Security. As a result, retiring Galveston County employees can anticipate $5,000 per month instead of the $1,000 Social Security could provide. Full implementation of PRAs would involve a transition period from the old system to the new. Persons already retired would continue to receive benefits equal to what they're getting now from Social Security. Persons not yet retired but born before a determined breakpoint date would be guaranteed benefits at least equal to what they would get with Social Security, but could get more. Persons born after the breakpoint date could anticipate benefits far superior to those they would get from Social Security. Because of the need for a transitional period, there would be a period of time during which workers would have to subsidize current retirees. But as time goes by, such subsidies would end as persons born before the breakpoint age and die. Eventually, all Oregons would benefit from a financially stable retirement system which provides them with superior benefits. Implementation issues like portability for those who would move to or from Oregon can be worked out legislatively. Since 1997, virtually nothing has been done to obtain the federal waivers required to implement a plan like opt-out. Governor Kitzhaber, unfortunately, has in effect wasted 4 years by failing to energetically seek the federal waivers required to implement a plan like this. As time goes by, simple demographics will make it more difficult and expensive to move away from Social Security, a system we know to be unviable. With respect to the opt-out plan, wasted time translates into a breakpoint date which will exclude more and more people from superior retirement benefits. As governor, I would aggressively seek the required federal waivers and push legislation providing stable and attractive retirement benefits for all working Oregonians. This isn't one of those issues that's of immediate urgency, but is of imminent urgency, and I think that it's responsible for us to look at solving these problems now.
You said it's illegal, though, at the moment?
Right now it is. The states didn't, since
don't have this option?
That's right.
Yeah, so you would say you would be lobbying Congress to...
Right. We had to do the same thing in 1992-93 with the Jobs Plus program. And right now I think the climate is right because even Democratic senators and representatives are recognizing the need to bring the private system into the retirement system. And it's something that no one's thinking about, but I felt that my campaign might be a good vehicle to bring this issue up because a lot of people, your age and my age, this is going to affect directly, and we have to act on this now if we're going to be able to expect anything. I think I saw a poll a number of years ago saying that the majority of people in our age bracket don't expect to get any money at all from Social Security, and that expectation is rational given the demographics and actuarial tables and all of that. So this is an issue I really want to bring up, and I'll be pushing hard on my upcoming tour, which is the next thing I wanted to just tell you about. And that is the ocean leg of my Oregon's New Choice tour. The objective is to present myself as a fiscally conservative, socially tolerant alternative to Mr. Kitzhaber and Mr. Sizemore. I'm looking for votes across all party lines, but specifically targeting non-affiliated voters. Non-affiliated voters have been shown by polling to, in effect, be generally fiscally conservative and socially tolerant, which is exactly what I am and what libertarians are. Now, as before, this first tour is effectively a media tour. I've visited 16 cities so far. After this leg, I will have visited 25 cities. And they are outside of the Portland metropolitan area, but I'm meeting with TV, radio stations, and newspapers. The next time round, when I tour again, I'm going to be going for civic organizations and crowds of people. The cities I'm going to be hitting on this leg of the tour include Brookings, Port Orford, Coos Bay, Florence, Newport, Lincoln City, Tillamook, Seaside, and Astoria. The next tour will take place when we finish our budget. When we get back from this, we're going to continue with greater intensity the work we have in writing a budget. I can give you a few details we're outlining now. Effectively, we're going to essentially hold the line for the first year. The following 3 years that we're working toward, we will be able to cut $1.2 billion without touching education, public safety, or transportation. The ways we're doing that are by eliminating some agencies, for example, the Oregon Department of Economic Development, which I think amounts to something like $260 million. I'd have to look and refer to what that is. But also through the privatization of a number of agencies, not oversight. The government would still have oversight over licensing boards and these sorts of things, but the delivery of services and the actual licensing would accrue 40% savings across the board, according to estimates that we've seen through a number of various think tanks. But anyway, we're still working out the details, and when we do, we'll probably have another press conference, and then we'll tour the state all over again with that. But essentially, today I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to file my document that will render me a candidate, and when I don't file the CC-12, then essentially people are free to spend whatever they want or whatever they feel is necessary to get their message out to voters. And that is all.
So you don't have any concern or problem with what some perceive to be just outrageous spending for political office?
I see it as a problem. I acknowledge that lots of money in races can distort the message. The trick has always been to find a way to do it without limiting speech. And monetary contributions and political expenditures have been determined to be political speech. I think that what it requires, and there's no way we're going to be able to shortcut this, is to have an electorate which is able to see through the money. They've been able to do it before. Ballot Measure 53 was a good example where the yes proponents, or were the people who supported the yes vote, dramatically outspent the people on the no side. And the race in California for governor in the Democratic primary, the two millionaires lost and the person who spent less won. If people think they can see through the money, and when money is realized not to be as effective as it usually is, it won't be. And if there's a culture saying don't buy the election, which I don't think exists yet, although it's coming, then those tactics won't be as successful. I'm also hoping that by causing a lot of money to be spent in the gubernatorial bid, less money will be funneled into state legislative races. I think that's one of the things that people do. If Mr. Sizemore and Mr. Kitzhaber were to sign these pledges and be held to them, then some of the money might go into independent expenditures. Some of it might go down to the state legislative races from various contributors. I'm hoping that my action prevents this from happening. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of suspense in this gubernatorial bid, so I don't think it's going to matter too much how much money is spent. But I can perhaps prevent some money from being spent in the state legislative races. And that's another reason why I'm doing this. And really, should any candidate be able to manipulate the system this way? No. But the only way to demonstrate this and maybe cause somebody to act is to do it, is to cause it to happen. And that's one of the reasons I'm running in this race, is to bring issues up that wouldn't otherwise be brought up in ways that other candidates can't afford to do. For example, the budget we're writing. The odds of me getting elected are long, to say the least. So some might say, why write a budget? But we're writing a budget in the idea that we'll have some ideas in there that others can pick up. We'll be providing a copy to both of the other major gubernatorial candidates and to every victorious state legislator-elect that comes to the legislature next January. Do you have any questions, Chuck? Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem.